A Lethbridge funeral home director has lost his license for at least the next 2 years. The Alberta Funeral Services Regulatory Board decision not to renew Ralph Zentner's license comes 4 months after he admitted to billing the government for services he never provided. Kayla Carr reports.
In January 2011, Ralph Zentner and his wife Faith were both charged with 6 counts of fraud and indignity to a human body. The charges were laid after police investigated complaints from a former employee. A year later, the charges against his wife were withdrawn, and Zentner pled guilty to 1 count of fraud, admitting he billed the government for scattering or burying ashes of homeless people, but didn't actually do it or inflated the costs. Last month, he was handed a conditional discharge with probation. Now, the Alberta Funeral Services Regulatory Board has decided to not renew his license and ban Zentner from submitting an application for renewal until March 2014. In their decision, they said, the board determined that Mr. Zentner's actions breached the Alberta Funeral Services Code of Conduct and had authority to refuse to renew Mr. Zentner's licenses. Without a license, Zentner will not be allowed to enter into any funeral services contracts or arrange or direct funeral or memorial services. He will also not be allowed to embalm any bodies. The decision doesn't affect the services Cornerstone Funeral Home provides.
Cornerstone will continue to operate. My license is the only one in jeopardy.
Zentner says he is considering appealing the board's decision.
As much as I would like to close this chapter of my life, I really need to explore all my options.
Zentner says it's been a difficult time for he and his family, adding he wouldn't have been able to get through the past 16 months without the overwhelming support from his family, friends, and the community.
We are very thankful for the wealth of experience and the licensed funeral directors that have stepped forward to help us through this process, including my wife, my sons, who are all licensed funeral directors as well, have stepped forward to help us. We would like to thank the thousands of families that have stood by us and prayed for us and supported us through this time.
Zentner says whatever happens, he's prepared to make adjustments and move forward with his life. Kayla Carr, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Zentner will have 30 days from the time that the board handed down their decision to appeal it. Cornerstone is able to stay open because other staff have their operating licenses.